So
It's the air-conditioned bedroom you're in, the one with the setup.
yes, we took it all down
Regular.
because now it's all working. But thankfully, air conditioning is working now upstairs, so that's a huge blessing. But yes, Michael had an evaporative cooler that he created set up just off to the side here so that he could have the cool air because he was finishing some stuff for me. So.
That is
And
so
he actually
smart.
monitored the temperature, and the temperature in the rest of upstairs was 94, 95. And right here at his little workstation, it was 84, 85. So,
He's gonna be like an engineer or scientist or something. Gosh, he's
yeah,
smart.
but it was quite humid. So,
Yeah. Welcome to Tennessee and Texas,
yeah,
right?
I guess. So anyway, I thought that was pretty awesome. That was kind of fun to watch him as he was trying to figure
Yes,
stuff
we're
out.
going to Idaho.
I'm going to Idaho today, 5:00. I'm leaving, which is
Yeah, I saw that last night. You posted. I'm like, wait a minute, she's gonna not be in Idaho when like the thing is tomorrow. I was so confused. I'm like, did I mess up the day? Am I?
I don't know what day it is.
no. So I have to wait till my daughter gets off work at 5.
Oh,
And then head out. So we are almost all ready. We just got to finish, and then she'll come home at lunch. We'll take her back to work, and then so that we can just pick her up and go. And then we decided we better not go Vegas because what I explained, because they just barely opened up, and I guess the traffic on the weekends has been horrendous. And then add that it's a long weekend, so we're just going to go up through California and head on over and cross our fingers. So, and drive as long as we can. I've never really done nighttime through the night driving. Have any of you done that? Do any of you? Is that your thing?
I hate it.
Yeah. I'm not excited
Some
about
people are good at that, but not me.
Yeah. So if we just get super tired, we'll stop.
Lori, I'm just gonna jump off and see if I can log back in as myself. Hopefully, so I'm just gonna leave.
Hopefully we stay. I mean, yeah, I'm afraid I might lose it again. I don't know, but
I don't know either. I'm trying to.
Whatever you think. And I'm so grateful to you for offering to host next week. So I'll let you know as we
Wait,
find
next
out.
week? I thought it was this week.
That's why you were. I thought. So next Friday, I am in Idaho. Like I'm driving.
Gotcha. It's all coming together for me now.
You know, I'm not very clear. I just kind of.
No,
you know,
I just maybe totally.
Don't you guys read my mind? That's how this works. That's the only way communicating with me works.
Oh man, my bad. I'm sure you said something. I just didn't. You didn't even catch it. I was just
probably not. Today. I probably just said Friday. So.
Well, I'll try to log off, and then like if it ends the meeting, you want to just jump back in, or you can do that. Should I just stay here? I mean, I don't care. It doesn't really matter.
We know who you are.
All right, fine.
You can click
the weird
rename yourself. That way you feel like.
I tried to do that. It wouldn't let me.
Oh,
I mean, I couldn't figure out where.
Probably because it would rename mine. I don't know. Whatever you want to do.
I'll see if I can rename.
If you want to see your name on there, I mean, just feel more comfortable being you.
On your own identity.
I can say whatever I want. This meeting it's being recorded, and everyone thinks I'm Lori.
This is Lori.
That's right. Get me in trouble.
Oh,
okay.
boy.
All right. So, are there things that you brought that you want to talk about? We'll start there, just in case there's something and I've watched as we go along on our meetings. Sometimes maybe you didn't start off with something, but as we start discussing, then it brings something up. I love that. And I have to say yet again how much I love the Marco Polo group. As crazy as it is, I love it. I just love the added feelings of connection and everything that we're learning. It's just pretty awesome. And Lindsay, it's nice to have you back. I keep expecting you to jump off at any moment because you're smarter probably than the rest of us.
No, I've just been going through, I don't know, it might, how like if I'm too far behind, I'm like, okay, mark all of them as red, so the number's gone. And then I'll go back and just catch up when doing tours and whatnot. So it's been fine.
It is kind of nice to have in the background when you're doing jobs that you didn't really, I'm doing a lot more jobs I didn't want to do, previously. I'm getting more of that done because it's my reward. Oh, if you do this job, you can listen to Marco Polo's.
Yeah, I got over a few of the anxious things that I've been dealing with. So I think my husband switched jobs and that's been causing some stuff. But it was good. It's a
Yeah.
good switch. It's just going to be different. That's all. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. Lindsay, when she was here, was mentioning, because I missed, I guess, a conversation when it said starting in the fall, did you want more of a structure? Can you recap that piece for me? Because she started, and then, we squirreled because we were out in the woods.
Oh yeah, right. And how wonderful. Don't you all love just watching her journeys as she's meeting different moms? I just love that. So I think hey Millie, I think we just we're saying, do you want it to be more structured? Do you want to have an assignment where somebody says, hey, let's all read this thing or watch this thing, and then we'll talk about it as part of our Friday discussion. And some of you said, that might be a good thing because it would help them do some of the reading, some of the watching, some of those assignments. So, and I don't think we got a final consensus, but I thought, well, if there's even just some desire for that, I think that would be a good thing to plug into our group. It wouldn't take the whole time, but it could definitely be, the beginning part of our meeting. And then we could go from there, because I still want to be open for the Spirit to direct and for us to go where it needs to go. But it definitely, I feel like it won't hurt to have some of that structure. And if you do the reading, yes, and if you don't, that's fine. I'm sorry.
Well, I love that idea because, like I said, it's even if you just gave us this general topic for the week, hey, this, like, I'm just going to say storytelling just for the sake of argument, but I liked it because we all took it in different strides and learned different things based on that, and then we could share. And I think that still helps the Spirit guide us because we're all prepared to go and share.
Sure.
I like it when the Lord says you can't steer a parked car, so it's
yeah. I mean, always every month it's this, the Mother's University, whatever the topic is for that month, that's always up for grabs. But if you'd like me to be a little more specific, I can be specific, or I can share, this is what I'm going to be reading. And then you can either read that or something else in here, or something else on that topic, or share something you're doing with your kids, or that you did for yourself, along on that topic. Does that?
I like that.
Being the topic for the whole month. As long as we do, I think it gives us something to study and try for, just to have something to share at the beginning. And then, like I said, it can go from there.
Yeah. I would love to do that, because that kind of gives me a little bit of structure too. So that kind of is helpful, so that I'm not always feeling like, winging it.
So I'm a structure person. I thrive in that department.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's fine.
I would like that if you told us what you were reading too, and then we could.
Well, I'll do that. I kind of, when I did the Teach Our Own, I kind of put that in there for that reason, and the Instagram account, so that I could do that. And then I thought, well, do people, this is probably a silly thing. I kind of gauge your interest based on if anybody put a like. Now, I'm not a big fan of the likes and whatever, but at least it's a measure, so if it's seen and not liked, I don't know, did you not like it, or did you just not like it? Does that make any sense?
I'm not on Instagram at all, so I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, so that's why I have the Facebook one. I don't mind. Why did I hold up the book for the Facebook one and the Instagram? I don't know. The Facebook one and the Instagram, so that if you're on one of those, I can do that. And then for some reason, I just don't use the email, and I should. It's just that I've kind of taken over my office space that I have in the laundry room with all of sewing stuff. And so I haven't been on my computer like I normally am, but I'll get back to that, because I could use the email too. But if I just picked a day and said, this is the day that I'm going to post, this is what I'm reading, this is what the focus will be, if I did that on Saturday or Sunday, so that you knew. And then you'd have that week to do that if you wanted to. And then on Fridays, we would lead out with that. Does that work for all of you then? Does that sound like a good way to do that? And then we'll still report on what are you doing? What are you doing to kind of nurture your own heart and how that's working for you. And then any specifics, questions, ideas about what you're doing. I don't know. Any more input about that? I'd love to hear more about what else you want it to be. Or do you only want it to be this? Also, do you want it to be, do you want to change the time? Do you want to change the length? Is any of that, because you moms that are here all the time, you get to decide that. Because we don't, I mean, I'm open to go as long as you want to go, but we don't have to go for 2 hours. You know, it's up to you what works for you, what you want to do. And, you know, people come and go as they can and need to. And
I think for me, since the Marco Polo group, we can be in touch a lot more throughout the week. I think keeping our Friday discussion to an hour is good for me. And I would love to do the Catch the Vision course, the introductory course together, and I think it would be really neat to have other people to study it with, and then to share and come back, be accountable. That would help motivate me to get through it, because I know it's important. A lot of people are talking about it and I haven't really gone into it yet. So
I would love that. Yeah, I would love that if we started there. You guys feel good about that? And how soon would you be willing to start? Because it would be lovely if you could kind of be through some of that before the school year started.
Yeah, that would be really nice to have that like as a, you know, preparation, like for the coming school year, to review all those things. That would be really, I think, good for me to help me stay focused during the school year, so I don't get like, oh, we're not doing anything.
Right. Okay, so I'm looking. So do you want to start going through the sections? Do you think? Is that what you want to do? Because this is the introductory course and we'll start with section 1.
We could also start with the books. I know all the books are online, right?
The reference library.
Right. And then start using her checklist that she has for her challenge. I don't remember what she called it, but I haven't done the challenge. Has anyone else worked on the challenge?
Challenge. I'm almost done, actually.
I've been going through it and marking off things, but it's all scattered. There's no order, rhyme or reason to it. But I was going to say, isn't it that what's in the introductory books, or those books that are on there, that's all the stuff that's in the introductory course as well? It's the same, right?
Well, volume 1 is the philosophy.
There's a little more in the books, and the books don't include the videos from other people.
Right. Which I love the videos, but I mean, that's me being lazy probably.
I
multitasking.
love all of that. Do you want to take a look at that and decide where you want to start? Because I'll start wherever you want to start. I've gone through all of it, and like I said, I'm almost done with the Catch the Vision, her checklist. But I'm so happy to do it again. That's perfectly fine.
I have done the Catch the Vision twice, but I didn't know there was a checklist. And are we, sorry, my kids are distracting me. Are we doing Mother's University along with it, or is it one or the other?
I think I might, if I can interject, I think I might also do Mother's University, like maybe have the last Friday of the month before we introduce the Mother's University topic or something. I don't know. Or maybe we can do them concurrently each week. I'm not sure.
Mom, what does this go?
Cute, so cute. What do you think?
I think, Lori, if you were to choose from either of those, I think we would read it and become ready to discuss. So if it were to be anything from the Catch the Vision books or the course or the Mother's University, just having something to focus us.
Okay, I will do that then. What I'll do is, because I have go ahead, Lindsay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna say, even though I've done the introductory course twice, I would love to do it again. It's fabulous. And the second time, it was like a whole new course. Like the things that I wasn't ready for the first time, the second time I like. Spend extra on. So
Yeah, I think
I
it
would-
builds
I was-
layer on
yeah.
layer.
And I was planning to do it for a third time anyways, so I didn't mean to say like I've done it. Let's not do that. I just
Oh no,
I was
no, I
just
didn't take it that way.
okay.
Mommy.
Yeah, and so what I'll do is I will take this week that I have, and I'll kind of go through some of this stuff and think about it, and then pray about it, and we'll just start picking. I'll let you know. The Friday, Saturday. I've got to figure that out. I don't know. Maybe I just Friday after the meeting, decide what's next. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out. Okay, Lindsay Watkins, the checklist is online. She mentions, and I'm not. She mentions the. Lost it, so now I don't remember what. I don't know if it's at the bottom. Okay, so when you click on the link for the resources for that reference library, and then you scroll past all the volumes, you get down to this accept the Catch the Vision challenge. And then I printed something out. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, there's within that paragraph, it says you can keep track of, and it's underlined, where it's a link, and then you click on that. And my phone's of course being slow, but it did before. It took me to a printout. I know it's there. I'm just not. Oh, yeah. So it just automatically downloaded on my phone, the file for the print for the checklist. And then the checklist looks like this. So it just goes through every book, and it has every little chapter and a little place where you can check that you have read that. And it just takes you through all 3 volumes of the reference library.
So you said that was on the bottom?
On the bottom of the page that, so when you get here on the app where it shows you the library, then you click on that.
Okay.
You click on the library, and then it takes you to this page. So you go all the way down that page, down to the bottom, and you get this paragraph. And in the paragraph right there, there's a place to click on it, and it will download that checklist for you. If you have any problems with that, just message me after, and I'll help you find it and print that out. Because I'll tell you what, those 3 volumes are wonderful. You read through that. What is the first one called? Philosophy, or what is it? Oh, is that what it is? The first volume in the, yes, okay. And it is just so motivating, so encouraging, so beautiful and uplifting, and you just feel so good about what it is that you're doing. You start to really get a vision of what this work is, and I love it. And then you go on to the next one which is methods and tools, I think. And that one is great. There's so much good there. A lot of the things that I would bring to you on Fridays and read to you were from one of those 2 volumes. And then the third one is all of the Take 5s, I believe. And it goes through all of those. So the actual transcriptions from the Take 5s that were done to date. Podcasts. Thank you.
It
Sorry.
does the Take 5s and the podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Is it? Okay.
The podcasts are after the Take 5s.
Awesome. Okay. So all of that's in there. So I've gone through the Take 5s, but I'm on the podcasts, I guess. So, but then these books are gems. These are just wonderful. This one, I always get it. So wonderful during that all the good stuff in science, and that's from and which is from Sorry. I don't know what's going to happen to these meetings when that happens. Darn it. We're having such internet problems lately. So anyway, then the last chapter is this scientific Christian thinking for young people. And the description that Marlene gave of all of these, I mean, I'm bringing this book with me on my trip so I can read through it because it just sounds wonderful. Anyway, so I will do that. I'll pick from those resources and we'll just start through. But I would recommend printing that checklist. Don't be in a hurry. You know, that's hard for me. I want to get done and sign off. Oh, look at Lindsay. She just printed it off. Take your time. Take your time, soak it up. And like Lindsay Cardall said, there's so much in the introductory course that you can just do it over and over again and continue to pull wonderful things out of it. So, okay. I'm getting messages from my escrow company, refinance. Okay. All kinds of stuff going on. All right. So thank you for asking that question, Lindsay Watkins. That's great because now we know and we'll be able to start on that. And we could do the introduction to that next week. You know, Ida can lead that if I'm not here. Like I said, I really think that we'll just be hanging out at my son's house. And by the end of the week, we'll be tired. We'll just love being there. That's funny. So I think it will be fine for me to do it. But if not, Ida will do it and do it wonderfully. And I'll have to try to figure out if I could change the name before you do that so that you can have your name up there on the screen, Ida. It's so funny to see my name up there twice. Okay, so moms, what do you feel like are the benefits and blessings of the Marco Polo group? Because Marley, I told you Marley contacted me this week and she just loves our group. She had the kindest things to say about coming. And I know I just asked you a question and then I keep talking. That's not very polite, is it? But you're probably used to that by now. Sorry, but I'm going to read to you what she shared because it was so sweet. She said, I keep sending women to your group. I hope that's okay. You've created, well, not me, but we have created such a loving community, and it's been such a blessing to know that I can point women there to catch a glimpse of mothers of influence. Keep encouraging them to branch out and start their own real life groups. And then she shared about a mom that just started. She loves Charlotte Mason, just barely stumbled on Well-Educated Heart and Mothers of Influence. She doesn't fully understand the vision, and I've sent her lots of getting started resources, including joining in your group. And one of the things this mom said has a lot to do with what we've been talking about lately. She said, I know so many young moms who are so lonely, so lost as to how to mother, or who feel that the work in a home is all grunge work. I am lonely for community and want to start building. So isn't that a mom that you feel like, oh, she needs to join our group? We need to just wrap our arms around her, you know, and bring her in. So hopefully she'll contact me. And then she asked, will you do what? She said, I know you'll love her and welcome her. Will you do what you can to help her see the spirit of what we're doing together and that it's so much bigger than a Charlotte Mason-like curriculum? So I just thought that was a wonderful nod to all of you wonderful women and the warmth and the love that is here. And so anyone can come here and feel included and feel uplifted and supported. And I love that. So thank you for being who you all are. Anyway, back to my question. What do you think are the benefits and blessings of the additional Marco Polo group? Because that's an added thing. And I do think that taking our meetings to 1 hour on Friday will help with that. But what are the benefits you gain from the Marco Polo group?
I feel like the Marco Polo group adds an aspect of real life. Every day, day to day, in and out, just, you could say tedious or not even that, but I mean, I feel like when we meet together on a Friday, it's a little bit more formal, a little bit more focused. It's just one tiny aspect of who we are. And there's so much more to us. And so as we chat in the middle of the week and share all sorts of things from our lives, we get a bigger picture and a fuller portion of who we are.
It's funny. I wrote, before you said that, I wrote bigger picture. Wonderful. Thanks, Linnell.
I want to add one more thing, that just an example that Ida was talking about Filipino foods that she's eaten. And I don't think that would have ever come up in a group like this. So I feel like it's an accelerated getting to know you. It's an accelerated friendship opportunity where we can't go over to each other's houses, but we can chat and we can have these words in our, or these chats, these scriptures and stories and motivational ideas all throughout the day, any day.
I love that. You know, because if we were in the same town, we would maybe be, taking turns hosting. We would be in each other's homes and getting more of a feel of who that person is, right? Because don't you think you get that when you visit a person in their home? You get another layer, of who they are, what they're like, what their family's like, those kinds of things. And so because we don't get that in this virtual Mothers of Influence group, we definitely are getting that as we continue to chat in Marco Polo. I love that. And I am excited about the recipe sharing. I think we definitely need to get that going. Just got to figure out where and how. Okay. See, Lindsay, we missed you. We didn't get any of this when you were gone.
My incessant typing.
What?
I set off my incessant typing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Can you read that quote?
I like that quote. It says, "We women have a lot to learn about simplifying our lives. We have to decide what is important and then move along at a pace that is comfortable for us. We have to develop the maturity to stop trying to prove something. We have to learn to be content with what we are." And that was Marjorie Hinckley. I love that. For me, I read that this morning. A friend of mine had posted that, and she said, she goes, "I read this and this kind of just gave me the freedom to be who I am." And the Marco Polo, we're just sharing our ordinary pieces of our life, and we're not like, okay, well, look what I can do. She's making all this food and she's making all this food. It's not a competition. We're just sharing the ordinary bits of our lives. And I think we're going to take from it what we want. Some people may love the cabbage soup and other people may be like, yeah, that no, and so we're not trying to glorify what we're doing or what we're accomplishing. We're just simply sharing. And I think that's what we would do.
I didn't get that. Could you try?
I'm not even talking to you. Shush. Ida, you don't want to turn Alexa on. they interject. But that's just how I feel about it, is because I'm like, oh, well, if it's something that's going to interest me, I love you all. Celery juice is not up my alley. But, it's not something extraordinary. And Sherry I'll have to find that podcast that she did where she was just gloating on her mother and her grandmother, and she's like, they were not extraordinary people. They were just ordinary. But she goes, but to me, they were totally extraordinary. And that's how I'm feeling as we are getting to know each other at this accelerated pace through Marco Polo. It's just, you are extraordinary in your own way, and I love that.
Thank you for that. I love that addition. I love it so much, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Last week when Linnell summed up for us, I loved what you said, and I wish I remembered all your words well, but I went back to my notes, and you talked about that through Mothers of Influence, through this group, this allows us to fill our cups. You talked about what we choose what we put in our glass, into our glass. And when our cups are full, we have so much that we can share. We don't feel the lack, so we don't feel the need to take away from others, but we're able to encourage and support and uplift one another. We can be a light and share that light with others. That's what I took from what you said. But I loved that. And I thought, okay, how did we do that? How is it that in this group of women, I mean, we may have our moments of insecurity that are just that natural man, you know, kind of coming in and, oh no, somebody, oh, I don't do that, you know, and I almost think it's like a trained response. Oh, I'm supposed to feel inadequate when somebody else posts something that you know, shares something that they do well. But I think that we're somehow getting past that, and we are celebrating each other's strengths and successes and homes, and you know, we're celebrating each other and allowing each other to be wonderful women in our own ways, and we're not so intimidated by that or restricted by that, not as much as you see out there in the world or in your Relief Society group or whatever. How is that? What is it that, because I want this to carry into other areas of my life, so what is it that is here that allows us to have what we have and not feel so threatened or insecure? What do you think? What's the difference? And how can we continue to foster that, to take away, you know, any of that insecurity that pops up?
I think this is a really good question, Lori. I'm interested to hear what everyone has to say. I do have some thoughts, so I'd like to share them. One is I wanted to give a little bit more. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to have you, since I'm not sure which Rachel came on, but could you repeat kind of what it is we're talking about and looking for, just so we include her in the, if you don't mind.
Rachel, is that Rachel Holloway, Rachel Stevens? Which Rachel joined us?
No.
Rachel Stevens.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about how is it that we've created a connection or relationship that is welcoming and inclusive, and that lifts and encourages, but doesn't feel intimidated or left out or restrictive. And so I was going to give a little bit of context to something that I shared last week. I have a friend who shared with me that she was really intimidated by the bishop's wife because she was so put together. Her children were clean and tidy, and they were well behaved, and just everything good about this woman was very intimidating to my friend. And as I reflect on that, I was like, what is it about my friend that she feels less of a person by seeing the strengths of this other woman? And so as I pondered that, I thought that maybe it's just that, well, first of all, I took a step back and I was like, the bishop's wife goodness has nothing to do with my friend, really. I mean, it's not really related, but she took it on herself to mean like, oh, now she's not good enough and she's not put together enough and her kids aren't whatever. And so as I contrasted that experience with my friend to what I feel with our group, we're sharing a lot of really impressive things, really neat things, which are ordinary to, I think, for example, of Lori sharing her garden and her yard, and to all of us who are seeing it for the first time, it's like, whoa, Lori, that's a lot. That's amazing. That's impressive. That's nice, or whatever we're thinking. And Lori is excusing herself saying, oh, I'm sorry. And this is messy and this is big and this is not nice. And this, so it's interesting to see how the person presenting will give a lot of comments to excuse themselves, whereas everyone else is saying it's wonderful and amazing. So what does it take for the person who's sharing to own it and to be proud of it and to be pleased with sharing it and to really see it as something good to offer, what everyone else sees? So why is it that we're looking at how we don't measure up and how we are lacking instead of what we have to give? And so bringing it back to our group and what I was sharing last week and where my thoughts came from is that I feel like because each of us are working on our own hearts and on what we can offer, that we don't have to worry about how other people are better than us, because we feel like we have something to share and we feel like our hearts are warmed enough to be able to have something to offer. And so I kind of feel like you have to have that first. You have to have individuals who are working on their own hearts. Otherwise, they're looking at others and saying, oh, you're too good, and feeling intimidated. And then they don't feel like being surrounded by those who do feel capable or feel happy or warm. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but that's kind of where my thoughts were going, that
Yeah.
you need to gather people who feel a sense of self-worth and confidence and just warmth, so that there is sharing and not taking away.
Yeah, I really like that. I was thinking about how warming your heart in any of the ways that we are currently working, each of us working on that, helps you to have a better understanding of who you really are. Kind of that, I mean, not to oversimplify, but I really think getting to the basics, these small and simple things are what makes a difference. If you really do have an understanding that you are his, that you are a daughter of God, and you have just a tiny part of that, I think it helps you have that foundation.
Did she freeze again? I'm gonna make a comment. I'm sorry if she can't hear me.
Oh, sorry. Nothing is just feel bad about it, or feel like you're trying to say, look at me, look what I did, it's so great, and you don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. So you kind of excuse in anticipation of that response.
I think we lost her. It's her picture.
Maybe Lindsay Watkins can share her comment as we wait for her to log on.
I was thinking, well, the one thing that all draws us here is we all have the desire to learn. That's one thing why we are gathering, is because we have something that we're wanting. And I think if we were talking to other women, instead of saying, oh, what did you do today, instead of just rattling off all of the mundane things, what if you just said, hey, guess what I learned? And then just shared that. I think that would change so many conversations with other women, instead of comparing, here's my busy day, I've done 5 loads of laundry and I've done this, just say, hey, I've learned this today, and just start sharing that. I think it would change a whole lot of conversations, and just making people think, oh, what did I learn today? Just, I don't know, maybe that's what's encouraged me, because when you guys share what you've learned, I'm like, oh, what did I learn today? So that's just a thought.
I like that.
I have a thought too. That was I love that too, because I think um, all the things that people have shared, like in the Marco Polo and stuff like that, it can be, you can take that as inspiration, or you can take it as um, a way to like look at your own like insecurities, and like, feel those, and I'm not good enough or whatever. I think also that our group, because of the way it started, it it was actually, I think it allowed us to have a different kind of relationship from the beginning. So because we know each other online, we didn't really know each other in person. We had there was a like there's a little bit of distance, right? And protection. So you don't like know everybody's baggage. You just know this person that's on this screen, right? And so it wasn't until like Marco Polo that we talked about lots of things in our group, but then as Marco Polo happened, we started to really learn more about each other. And I have to admit that sometimes I was like, these people said they had a crappy garden? What? This is not crappy. Or, other things, and I'm like, okay, those are really nice houses. That's not what my house looks like, or whatever. And I was feeling some of those insecurities, and I was honestly thinking when Lindsay was coming here, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be interesting. She's gonna see like the real me, you know. But at the same time, like I felt comfortable, and a little bit of trepidation, but also like it's gonna be okay. I'm just normal kind of freaking out, not like too much, I don't think. Anyways, So I think because of that, it's allowed us to like build trust, you know, as we've gotten to know each other more and shared more of who we really are. And I think that that's an interesting thing because I started a Mothers of influence group with my sisters and my sister-in-laws, but we knew each other outside of that, and it's been kind of hard. And I don't know, like maybe if you're starting an in-person group too, it might be a little different because you know somebody from like church or wherever you meet them to join this group. So I think maybe that's maybe part of the blessing of this working the way that it did and starting the way that it did. I don't know. So that was just some thoughts that I had about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I appreciate you sharing that. And Monica, did you have some thoughts earlier that you wanted to share?
Um,
I wasn't sure if I heard your voice, if I heard you, you know.
no, I didn't really have anything right now.
Okay, no worries. No worries. Just let me know.
I just logged in a little bit ago and I was just listening. I
Good.
don't even know what question you're on.
Okay, no worries. No worries. We'll catch you up, but I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, me too.
And Emily, it's nice to have you here too. If you have a moment, are you able to tell us where you are and kind of a little bit about yourself?
Are you talking to me, Emily Bellman?
Yes, yeah, sorry.
Okay. We are in Price, Utah right now. We're traveling down to New Mexico to visit family for the weekend. So, and a little bit about myself, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
So I have 5 children. 2 of them have already left home, and I have 3 at home. 2 are public school and 1 is homeschool. We live in Southeast Idaho on a potato farm.
That's wonderful. That's so cool. I think you just joined us for the first time like last week or the week before?
Yeah, last week. Mm-hmm.
All right, wonderful. Welcome back. It's nice to have you back.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Sure. That's wonderful. And then Monica, she and I have talked a few times and just texted back and forth. But I can't remember. Monica, can you remind me where you are and kind of a little bit about your family?
Yeah, I live in Ohio, Southwest Ohio, and I have 5 kids with 1 due next month, so almost 6.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been doing the well-educated heart for a couple years now. It'll be our 3rd year coming up. So.
And you just recently posted on Well Educated Heart, correct? Because
I did.
I saw that little cry out of help.
Yeah.
So
I tend to go through periods of strength and then struggling. So.
Yeah. So Monica's funny. I'm going to share this. I'm going to tell this about you, Monica.
Okay.
But Monica and I were talking, and I shared with her about the floors and ceilings goals, and setting goals and stuff, because she had written out a list of goals and then had her husband look at it. And how many goals did you have on your list? Like 21 goals or something like that she had put on this list.
I was wondering how many floor goals you can make before it becomes a ceiling goal.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think your floor goals officially became a ceiling goal when you hit about, I don't know, 15 or something. I'm not sure, but 21, she's an overachiever.
Well, I just have a lot I need to work on, I think.
You want to read those today? Okay, in the next?
That is all of us, my friend. That is all of us. We all have a lot to work on. So we're trying to figure out this balance. So yeah, that's so funny. But anyway, it made me laugh when I read that. So that is so me. Anyway, okay, so we're having fun really getting to know each other more in this group. So we have our Friday conversations. Thank you, Monica. We have our Friday conversations, and then some of us have joined a Marco Polo group where we have the occasion to get to know each other even better. And we were talking about how our group feels very comfortable. We feel comfortable with one another. We feel like we're able to share, and we don't feel a competitiveness, but we still have some moments of feeling a little bit inadequate. When other people are sharing their things, we're trying to figure out, how do you share and feel like own whatever it is that you're sharing, and maybe share from a point of gratitude and excitement about those things, knowing that your friends here will take it that way. And then how do you work on your own feelings of inadequacy when you're looking at another person? And I loved the comment over here. We need to change our thoughts from what do I lack to what about her makes me want to be better. And I love that. I love that. Thanks, Lindsay, for that. That's a great perspective. So continuing on, that's kind of what we're talking about. More thoughts about that from any of you? What works here, and how do we do that? Linnell.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on to what Lindsay was sharing about sharing with others what you've learned.
Yeah.
And she did that with me one day in a Marco Polo message where she was just like, this is what I learned and I wanted to share it with you. And she shared about the Spirit talking to Nephi in the Book of Mormon and asking him, what do you see? And so Nephi was able to share what he saw, and then the Spirit was able to expound on that. Instead of just sharing everything, maybe the Spirit was excited about something else, or maybe the Spirit wanted to teach him a lot more. And the question of what do you see, and then focusing on that, that's what I took away from what Lindsay shared with me. Maybe she shared something completely different, but the cool thing is that when someone shares a moment of inspiration with you, then you can apply it to your life, and you can apply principles and experiences to whatever you're going through. And so I think the same thing happened for me when Laura was sharing about her relationships and some of the things she's been figuring out. And so the truth that she shared is truth for me too. And so I can apply that truth in my life, and that is something that can help me. And I'm not gonna, maybe I could be intimidated by Lindsay saying, hey, this is what I learned, or I could be inspired and be like, that's amazing, I want to learn more about that, and I can go discover it more, or I can figure out something else on my own and be inspired to share with others. So I really like the idea of basing our conversations off of what we've been learning and what we've been experiencing that has been changing us.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. I do know those silly pictures that came in my head that one day, the happy face, the heart, and the sunflower are helpful to me in that invitation to think about what makes me smile. What are some things I enjoy? What are some things that stir my heart? Something I've been learning, something I just saw, something I experienced. What are the things that help me grow? Just as a starting off point for conversations with other people. I've had so many more meaningful conversations with people just from having in my mind the picture of those silly little, no, they're not silly, but anyway, just the happy face, the heart, and the sunflower, to think, okay, I want to have an uplifting conversation. So how can I start this conversation with this person and try to keep it a heart-based conversation? And my goodness, the things that you learn from talking to the person in that way, or maybe it also, just, I don't know, putting yourself into that mode makes you more receiving in a positive way. I don't know, but I've just been thinking about why this works so well and how we've become so close in really not very many hours of time spent together. When you think about how many total hours we've spent together in the past year and something, compared to other friendships that you have in your life. And I feel like you are my very dear friends. I feel very blessed to have you in my life. I do know that Heavenly Father put us together, and I'm grateful for that. But we are really connecting in ways that people I've known for 25, 30 years, I've never connected with like this. So any more thoughts you want to share about this connection, how it works, how it's blessed your life? What have you tried it in other areas of your life? And is it starting to affect other relationships in your life, anything you want to talk about that. And if we're done, we can move on. Rachel's shopping, of course. Yeah, just kidding.
No, I was helping my son with something, trying to find the right cord. And I was like, oh no, it's like, anyway, but it's good. This was important. I did, I'll share it later in the group, I guess, because I actually learned something about connection in my, I've been doing group therapy, about healing relationships. And that was one of the things last night that they talked about, and I want to get the quote right, but it basically talked about how the main objective for all communication is connection. And I will, when I get home, I'll post it or share it if this is over. But I loved it because I was like, and there were 3 questions to ask. Okay, I'll just get home and then I'll share it.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I'd love that.
And I was like, oh, like in all areas of our life. I know we had talked last time about, just what can we do to feel connection with other people and all of that. Anyway, it all really had me thinking last night. So
good. Okay, we'll look forward to that. Do that. Go home and get that. Drive safely, and then we'll go to Monica.
Yeah, I was thinking I definitely have a deeper connection, with people I think that have kind of the same focus and that value the same things, like they're working on the same things. I think it's a lot easier to make those connections. I come from a big family. There's 13 kids in my family. And I'm the only one who homeschools or is remotely interested in that. And so, I struggle sometimes even with my family, to have a similar connection as I do with, some of my friends that are, following the same path as me. So
yeah,
I think that's an important aspect of connection, at least for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, and one of the reasons that this came up for me was I was in Relief Society, which
Hey, Millie, when you make a big pot of pie, I was wondering, do you guys finish eating it first, or do you guys get tired of eating it first? Does it go pretty quickly?
Yeah, I lost internet connection for a second. So when I came back on, I heard my name. They're actually still eating it. It'll get eaten
okay?
Another half day. Yeah, it's such a treat. And because I don't do it very often, I think it's been a month and a half that some of them start to get tired of it. They're like, that's kind of why I make 2 soups, so that way they can choose, but then they might just have something else. But most of them like to keep eating. And my husband gets really tired of it. Yeah. For him, it's one time, that's it. Yeah.
Do you guys usually eat it multiple times in a day or just once a day?
Actually,
until
for
it's
lunch done.
and
dinner. I'll eat for lunch and dinner. So yeah, we'll have smoothies and stuff like that for breakfast, and then it's just fun. They just look forward to it. So tradition.
A nice break for you too, right? You don't have to cook for 3 or 4 days, as long as it lasts.
I know, because I cook a lot, so it's fun. Makes it fun. Yeah.
I loved seeing
Yeah.
your huge pots. I don't own a pot that big.
I had to get a pot that big for
That's
that.
great.
Yeah.
Does that fit in your fridge though? Do you have multiple refrigerators?
I do have multiple. I now do. I do now, and I have to take out racks. I have to take out shelves
Mm.
to make it fit. So, but it works. Yeah. So
That
have you
makes
had,
sense.
I'm sure you've had pho.
I've
Have
had
you
it at
had pho?
restaurants. I've never cooked it, but I have had it in
Yeah.
restaurants.
It's big here. I mean, there's pho restaurants everywhere, and so most people just go to restaurants. But like I said, with the Lao family, it's just kind of a fun thing they do, just home. So I like it. Yeah. Yeah. So is Lori off right now?
I think
Like,
so.
is Lori's internet? Yeah.
I think we lost her for a minute.
She
I was
just
going to ask you, Millie.
keep coming, keep going.
Millie, do you have you ever tried cooking it in like an Instapot? Do you use those
I
at all?
haven't, I don't have one, but I've seen that done, but I don't have one. So, and I don't know if I could find one big enough to feed everybody.
I have an 8-quart
but
one, but yeah, I don't know either. I've just heard that you can cook it a little bit faster in Instapot, but I mean,
right.
I don't know. I have no experience. I've just like maybe I'll try that someday.
So oh, Ida, what do you like to cook in your Instapot?
I cook tons of chicken. I'll like if I have me chicken in a meal and I want it to be like ready to go, I'll just throw it in there and then I can put it in the casserole or whatever kind of soup or whatever.
Mhm.
Actually, if it's soup, I usually just cook it in the soup. And then I cook like probably mostly like meat actually. Like so I'll do
Mhm.
like ribs in there. Sometimes I do like mashed potatoes or rice in there.
Ooh.
And that makes like because I only have one big pot and
Mhm.
so that is a challenge too, so I can use the Instapot to cook something and then I can
That's good.
cook the main thing in my big pot on the stove. But I'm definitely gonna have to buy some big pots because when our girls come I can't cook enough food in just our one little one. It's 6 quarts, but it doesn't last. Like even for my family it's like okay, and then if anybody comes over then we're like I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's nice. It's fast for some things, but I mean, I don't think it's essential. So
Right.
I have an 8-quart and a 6-quart, and I'm kind of like maybe I'll just get rid of the 8-quart because I don't use it enough to like warrant
Mhm.
having it take up a lot of space on my shelf. So or
Yeah.
maybe I'll get rid of the smaller one and keep the bigger one because we're gonna have more people. Maybe that is a good idea.
Yeah. Have you cooked beans in it before?
Oh yeah, actually yes, and I love cooking
Okay.
beans in it because they're really great in there. Um, I'll cook beans on the stove, but I have to remember to do it like I'll put them in like at noon so they're ready. But if I don't, then
Mhm.
I can just throw them in the pot, and that works really good too, because it's
That's
like
nice.
an hour 45 minutes to like cook them, so that's
Mhm.
totally doable before dinner.
That's really beans too. Just yeah. Many appliances, I think, oh, do I really want one more to be able to find a place to put it? But
Right?
stuff like, okay, is it worth the space? So
Yeah. Like when
yeah.
the air fryers were like they're still kind of big, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Why do I need this?
You
I don't
know.
need this. I don't need this. Somebody bought it for us, and I was like, honey, let's just return that and get something else because I don't want another thing in my house. I don't even know. I don't know how to use it,
Right.
and I don't want to try to figure it out. I have
Mm-hmm.
an oven. I think that'll cut it.
Yep.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy things, Linnell, that you use to cook with?
My Instant Pot or just anything?
Oh, anything like that. Like, do you have an Instapot or air fryer, stuff like that?
I do have an Instant Pot. I love to use it in the summer months, so I'm not heating up the house.
Yeah,
I love to just put it on and let it go. But I cook rice and beans and meat and soup and all sorts of stuff. I love that. And I don't have anything crazy.
I do
Chili's
like
good in
chili
there
and
too.
soup and stuff in there too, and it's true. It really does keep your house from getting too hot.
And less dishes if you can do a one pot.
Yes.
A lot of the Mexican cooking that I do requires so many pots and lots of dishes and lots of time and a blender and all sorts of things. So it's a big ordeal to cook ethnic food around here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Lori, you were saying about Relief Society, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. This is such a weird thing. We're gonna have to figure out what's going on over here, but I'm so glad that you logged in on my account, Ida. So I kept it going. So good for you, good inspiration. I just had noticed that in every group I'm in, and I'm sure this is true in any group anywhere, right? You've got some, a handful of people that have really made some connections, and then so many that haven't. And it seems odd to me because it seems like we would be working toward a similar goal, right? You were working on similar things, so there would just naturally be those connections. But I don't see it. I'm always encouraging it, and I feel like I think I feel anxious about it because I feel like, just like with Come Follow Me and Home Centered Church, those were given to us in anticipation of a time when we were going to need those things. I think Relief Society, the organization, the purpose of it, everything, and then now ministering, that those things have been given to us as tools to prepare us for, something that is coming. And I think that this group and what we're experiencing is showing me, anyway, what can happen in a group of women. The growth and the connection and the encouragement and the motivation to keep building, keep learning, keep becoming better. And I love it. And I guess I just kind of want to know how to encourage that in everything anyway. And then now I'm going to go read the chats while you guys talk. But I'm just curious if any of you have had a similar experience, if that's just me, I don't know. Or like I said, if you're making connections.
You muted yourself, Lori.
Is she still talking? I can't see her.
Lori, you're on mute. Can you hear us? Lori. There you are.
Are you ready, Rachel? Sorry.
Yes, I'm home now. Okay. I feel so bad because I don't know everything that's been talked about, and I don't want to repeat anything.
And Rachel, I don't either. I keep getting thrown off, so just don't even worry about it. Just jump on in.
Okay, but this really struck me last night because I'll say, as we've talked, so sorry, about connection and those different things, and just how, several times people have said, I just, I love it. I feel so accepted. And I will say, honestly, that's something I've struggled with. I told Linnell a little bit this week, I feel connection, but it feels like I feel the connection, but I feel all the time like I talk too much, I say the wrong things. Oh my goodness, there's always a lot of self-doubt, oh my gosh, I'm making a fool of myself. People think I'm dumb. People just a lot of those just really a lot of self-doubt. And so, then I'm I feel this connection, but I don't know if anybody feels that back because I'm not worthy of that. Certainly nobody would think that anyway, I know what I'm saying, but as I thought about this last night, so in my group therapy, they said the purpose of almost every interaction is connection. And there's 3 questions that we kind of ask. Are you there for me? Do I matter to you? And will you come when I need you or when I call you? And I loved that because, you know, as you have talked about Relief Society, that is definitely not always a place that I have just felt an instant connection. It's uncomfortable sometimes because when you feel like I don't know who to trust or who to, and I thought those are definitely things that I ask, like, who is really going to be like there for me? Like, it's not connection. It's not always about having all these things in common. It's about knowing who is going to show up and that you have a place, like that you matter in any way to somebody. And anyway, one of the things that we talked about was, do we have that connection with ourselves? Could we ask ourselves that question? Am I there for me? Do I matter to myself? And when will I show up when I really need it? And I loved that because I talked a little bit before about the containers and how when that we have our containers and often we let other people's stuff get in, other people's judgments or thoughts or the words they say, or and our containers end up being super jumbled and just a big mess. And that, you know, it's important to be able to separate other people's thoughts and feelings and judgments and sit in peace with yourself in your own container and be able to put off some of those things. And one of the things that we talked about was just in asking myself those questions, I'm like, they said, blame is a container issue. And I was like, oh, that really though can be true. When I feel really insecure about all of my own things, when I have let all these things sink in, or past experiences, or how I feel about myself, or it really is a container. I can blame all this, like, my Relief Society, nobody likes me. It's I'm always alone. Or when I was feeling like to myself, like everybody probably thinks I just contribute dumb things. Like I don't have anything to send. All these moms are like so good and they're all, they do all the things that I wish I could do, anyway. And I just got thinking, that's a container issue. I'm letting everybody else and their goodness and it isn't that I think anybody's in the wrong. It really comes back to me and those questions and asking myself, and am I really showing up and loving myself and connecting with myself? Because if I am, I think that I know that I will find, I've seen this in my life in other places, that is what begins the deeper connection with other people. It allows you to have those deeper connections. Because you aren't trying you're not trying to like march through this whole slog of negative feelings and thoughts about yourself, because it really becomes about, I know who I am. I love myself. If somebody didn't like what I had to say, that's okay. They don't have to, because I'm okay with, with who I am. And that helps open up those segues for connection. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense in my mind.
Yes, you absolutely are. And this is the thing. So I'm so glad you shared this. I am so happy that you shared these things. I love those 3 questions. I love the idea of asking those 3 questions of ourselves. That's really where we need to start. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So you have this group of women that are so kind and good and supportive and wonderful, and we're sharing and we're connecting, and yet we still have these insecurities, and it just like when you're sharing that, I think, oh, Rachel, let me just teleport to Texas to give you a big giant hug and say, you're darling, you're so cute and so sweet on here. And when you're on here, when you come on and you make your little, like on the Marco Polos, when will you go in and interject after people's comments? I think, oh my goodness, thank you so much for doing that. That is this supportive, kind, friend that's cheering on everybody else, pointing out the good things. I love that. When you popped on that day and came to us from your freezer, that cracked me up. You are just such a darling, wonderful person. And it would, I'm sure other people will echo this. We would think, what? How can you even question that we would, that we wouldn't value your input and everything? I can't even imagine, right? But it happens to all of us where we have those moments of insecurity. And that's what I'd love to see. Could we tackle that? Can we start working on that? So Rachel's got her hand raised. So let's hear what Rachel has to share.
I just wanted to say to Rachel, like, I'm not quite as participatory in the group, but like, you remind me of the little girl in the movie Up. You're like so inspiring, and you just like reach out. You're like what the shy kids need. Like me, I was on the playground, didn't have any friends, and you were one of those people. Like, you obviously were on the playground with me, but like you're one of those people like that just know how to reach out, and you're not scared to, even though you may feel insecure about it. Like, it means a lot. And you even were the one that like just, you're like, we should be friends on Facebook. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm just really shy and introverted. So like, I need someone like you, and a lot of people do. And even though you feel like maybe you're loud and you talk too much, like, didn't the guy on Up, didn't he like love the girl because she was the way she was? Like, anyway, so you're just wonderful. And you're the reason that I still have my group, because I was like, well, Rachel comes and she likes it, even though I feel like a bunch of my other friends that live here that I thought would come and love it too, they don't, or maybe they do if they would come. But anyway, I just think you're amazing. And sorry to just make it all about you, but you just need to hear like, you're the way you are, because people need that. So.
Oh yeah, amen. And the fact that you do all of this support and encouraging, in spite of your insecurities, shows so much love.
So, Rachel, I too, every time I see that you're going to talk, whether it's Marco Polo or this, I get excited. Like, I love to hear what you have to say. And you always have a smile, and I love that. I love that. I was going to share one thing that I've done to help, because I am super insecure, very introverted and very insecure. And I think one thing that I started doing was, I always kind of wanted to be like at church. I would love to just sit in the back row in the corner and no one talk to me. I would just love that. But that's just, as over the years, I just realized that Heavenly Father needs me to reach out to other people, because they need my love. They need the love that they can feel His love through me. So I just, when I am feeling really insecure, I just try to find somebody else who I think might be feeling the same way. And just look out and see, who needs my love at that time. And then we were in a ward a few years ago that was really cliquey. They were all like beautiful women that were just, they were loving, they would give great lessons, but it was cliquey and it was so hard. And I remember one time just realizing that they need my love too. They may be ignoring me, but they need me. And that sounds conceited, but they do. They need my love and my acceptance. And so I remember one in particular, if I would say hi to her in the hallway, she would just not even hear me. I don't know. She just wouldn't hear. So now I started like touching her arm and like shaking her, hi, how are you doing? And just trying to because not to be obnoxious, but just to understand that you may not talk to me, but I care about you. And so really just for me, just trying to think who else needs my love. And then that's helped build relationships and help me. I still have issues, lots of issues, but It helps you build relationships.
Rachel,
Okay,
love
moms.
you. And I can totally relate to being too loud and talking too much because I'm always like, I'm talking again. Oh. And I was the annoying person that would go sit by quiet people and be like, hey, how's it going? How are you? And I'd be like, they're probably like, please get lost. But also I remember like just a few months ago, there's a like I've talked about her before, but like the Norps, you know, and Megan Norp, and she said she like is kind of like all over the place sometimes and like jumps from thing to thing and like always going and doing, and I totally related to that. And she was like, I used to be really hard on myself about that because I was always like on to something new all the time, and I had to like start giving myself grace and realize that Heavenly Father made me the way that I am. This is me talking now, and because I was listening to her and thinking, yeah, Heavenly Father made me the way I am, and there's a reason. And I'm not perfect, none of us are, right? But we do have strengths, and if we're like trying to do our best to magnify those, and then also we're as we interact and make these connections, we can also, you know, strengthen our weaknesses too. But and so maybe talking a lot is a weakness, or maybe it's a strength. I haven't decided yet. But I'm trying to make it be a strength. Anyway, so just my thoughts. You're great. I love you.
I'm going to go back to that picture of a little girl, you know, us as little girls. When we're little girls, or when you see a little girl that you know, and she's just put on a dress or put on her favorite outfit or whatever, and she's in front of a mirror and just smiling and looking at herself and just so pleased with what she sees, you know, she just really, really likes herself, really feels good about herself. And then one day, I don't know what day it is, but one day that changes. And no longer do we see ourselves like that. And we look in the mirror and think, oh, you know, we don't even want to look in the mirror. We say something, do something, and afterwards we're just second guess it and pick it all apart, you know. That's when you look at a little girl and then you see a girl that's changed from that to that more, you know, negative, not accepting herself, not liking herself. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about her? Don't you think, no, you need to see how good you are. You need to see and understand all the good that you are. Sure, you've got some issues and things, we all do, you know, but you need to focus on the good. So how do we do that? You know, Heavenly Father will want us to be focusing on the good, you know, seeing the beautiful. I think that meditation that some of us have been working on and have done is pretty impactful when you realize that for some of us, the very beginning, that mantra that's supposed to be every day, I love and accept you, and then you say your own name. The fact that that was difficult for some of us to even say that tells a lot. I think that we just don't embrace who we really are enough, and we need to try to figure that out anyway. But and showing grace. I really think that I still second guess myself, and I still feel like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. You know, you must just be shaking your heads like, well, you know, what is she saying now? You know, what is she doing? But I am better about it because I've like really read and studied some about grace. And I love that as Michael Wilcox, right? Our article on grace, it's that you can download at BYU speeches, whatever. It's like the most downloaded speech that's ever been on that site. And it is beautiful. I encourage you to read that and reread it and reread it and reread it and try to show yourselves grace every day, because that's huge, trying to keep that in mind. But anyway, I don't know. And maybe being a part of a group that reminds each other, no, we really do like you, you know, in spite of all the things that you see about yourself, you know. maybe that helps. I don't know. I would love it if we could get away from all of those feelings, but I don't know. Emily says, I had the opportunity recently. Oh, I lost it. Can somebody else read it? It's so hard on your phone to do that.
I can read it.
Thanks.
I had the opportunity recently to put together a few women to accomplish a goal. I was unsure how it would come together, but each brought their knowledge, talents, and connect. It was because each was different that the outcome was so great. Each person has something to contribute that is unique and that makes the beautiful picture. So true. So true.
Yeah, I love that, Emily. I love that. If we could remember that, if we could remember the most important part of that equation is probably that I have something important to contribute. You know, we can most of the time accept that others do, but we sure have a hard time accepting that we do. Millie?
This is kind of along those lines. It just made me think of this because we're each all so different, and we came to this earth with spiritual gifts, and we're supposed to develop more spiritual gifts while we're here. I was talking to my daughter, and she's 18, Liesel. She's super artsy and just kind of laid back and artsy. And I think, and just her personality and her spiritual gifts just lend her to be very laid back. And therefore, she has a hard time getting organized, following schedules. That's really hard for her. And she also has a very tender heart, which makes her very emotional. And I started talking to her, and it came to my mind that with all of our spiritual gifts comes some extra stuff, come the challenges of dealing with them in this life. Because I think her tender heart and all those things just they kind of give her other issues, if that makes sense. And so even like our insecurities, and I don't know, just if you can take anything from that, but just that understanding that who we are, our tender hearts, those are spiritual gifts. And with that comes other things that we can work with, but not to really think of them so much as weaknesses, but just as challenges that come along with that, I guess.
Or opportunities. I'm trying to think of my challenges as opportunities, opportunities for growth. Linnell.
I think Rachel hit the nail on the head with connection. And I think those 3 questions are very profound. And I really thought that connection comes from similarities and a oneness in values. But when she brings that up, it's like, no, it has nothing to do with your interests or even really your values. And I think what she said is why the group and the friendships we've created have worked so well, because when someone has an issue or a problem, everyone's there to encourage. So we're there for each other, and we care about each other because we have spent time together, and we're in this together. We're learning from each other. We want to grow and learn together. So I really like thinking about those questions and focusing on that, because then it helps me when I'm trying to create connection here in my life, in my circles. And as long as I care for someone and will be there for them, and someone can give that to me as well, then I can feel this connection. So I'm thinking about all these other stories where people didn't feel connection, and it's probably because they couldn't rely on the person. Right? That's probably what was missing, that maybe they did care, but maybe they didn't show it in some way. I don't know really the specifics, but it gives me a lot to think about. Yeah. So I have to log off here. I'm going to a birthday party with my son, but I had 3 different examples of connection that I wanted to share that kind of have been standing out in my mind just from this conversation. And they're all just 3 simple examples, but one, it was maybe, I want to say 6 years ago. I was in a ward. I didn't have kids at the time. Yes, so it was just me and my husband, and it was back when I was still visiting teaching, and I was assigned this sister to visit, and I was really intimidated by her. I was scared to talk to her, and this is a Spanish ward, and so I was worried about my Spanish, and I had never seen her before, all the things that, were trying to interfere with connection. I decided to be brave, and I just asked her if I could come visit her. And that one moment of reaching out to her proved to be a very pivotal moment, because she became one of my best friends. And I learned that she was lonely, that no one had talked to her, that she had a like she had so many needs and no one was there for her. And because I was willing to talk to her, I was able to connect with her and fulfill those needs. And I'm so grateful that I overcame that insecurity and that feeling of resistance and intimidation, or just being scared, because a lot of times we're just scared to establish a connection, but it's really so worthwhile if we can overcome that. No, not right now. And then another story is just this week in Come Follow Me, we were invited to contact our bishop or send him a note or write a thank you card or whatever. We were learning about our bishop. And so last night I invited my son to message our bishop's wife and ask some questions. And that's just with the intent to get to know him. And so he sent a voice message, and this morning his wife responded, and she answered questions he asked. What's your favorite animal? What's your favorite music? What's your favorite candy? And what's your favorite sport? And so when she responded, he felt so much more connected because he knew more about him. And so he asked these questions, and now he knows that his favorite animal is a tiger. So he feels connected now. He loves tigers, and my bishop loves tigers. Another neat thing is that we learned a new composer. His name is Yanni. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but we looked him up and we love his music, and we never would have known that our bishop likes that. And so we have another connection there, just with similar interests. And so I was glad that I could offer that experience for my son to learn how to connect to someone. Sometimes you just have to ask a question. You just have to show interest and show that you care, and then that can provide connection. I'm sure when the next time Benji sees our bishop, he will be thinking about this composer or about his favorite sport being basketball, or the next time he sees this candy that he loves, he'll think of his bishop. And the last one that I wanted to share was about my sister-in-laws. So Lori has a really sweet relationship with her sister-in-laws, and I reached out to her and I asked her, how did you create that? I want to know your secret because I want to do that myself. And so because of Lori's example, I was inspired, and I want to do the same for my own sister-in-law. And so it was really scary, because I just messaged one of my sister-in-laws who is a Spanish speaker, and she, like, I don't talk to her ever, but I want to create a connection with her and her kids and her family. And I want what Lori has for my sister-in-law. I think I can grow from them and learn from them and be enriched and blessed by them. And so I sent a message to her and I said, do you have Marco Polo? Do you want to send me videos of your kids? I'd love to see videos of them and I can share with you. It didn't turn out how I imagined. Like, we didn't create a group, but I was glad that I could reach out and show her that I cared, that I could kind of plant a seed and let her know that I'm interested in getting to know her more and that I'm leaving it open for her. And so the beautiful thing about connection is that it spills over into other areas, and it can bless other areas. That I hope that I can create this. One sec, Benji. I hope that I can create this connection with my sister-in-laws, but if not, at least I tried. And so those 3 questions that Rachel shared will continue to help me in these other areas, because I can just show I care, and I can just be there for them, and I can just let them know that they matter to me. And then I think that will help in a lot of areas of my relationships.
I love that. I love how you are able to summarize and then to share these things and share the examples and illustrate for us the things that we're talking about. I just love that. You have such a gift for that, Linnell. Thank you. and I know you have to go, but this has been wonderful. What a great discussion. I think those questions, you know, I was kind of just saying them back about our group. And I was thinking, you know, if you've got a relationship that's struggling, maybe use those questions backwards, you know, and say, are you there for that person? And does that person matter to you? And are you there when they call? You know, and see if you're holding up your end of that connection, you know, and maybe that connection isn't there because, you know, because you're not. Maybe they aren't also, but maybe if you do, that would help, you know, that would help. But like Linnell said, there would be our success. We are there for each other, you know, and we do matter to each other. You know, the moment one expresses some insecurity, what happens? You know, there's like everybody's, oh, no. And, you know, trying to provide some feedback to help that person feel better. We do talk about the things that are important. We even, you know, we went off screen last week or whatever, week before, because something really personal came up and it was important to discuss it. And it was much more important to discuss that than to have you know, the discussion recorded and posted on YouTube. You know, we matter to each other. And I think, yeah, I'll be there. You know, if one of you needed me, I'd be there for you. And I haven't shared this before, and I don't even know if she would want me to share it. But I'm going to. When I posted and asked about the cost for the Zoom, you know, it's so expensive, and it's something that I right now in my current financial situation can't do by myself. And I immediately heard from 2 of you and got payments for Venmo money to put toward that, and then contacted by another one of you who shared it with, just because I haven't asked her if I could share, but shared it with her husband, and he said, well, could you ask her what the balance is that needs to be paid, and we'll pay that. And you know, what a gift. And you were there for me multiple times. I think each one of you would be able to share stories, maybe not those of you who are brand new, but the rest of us could share stories about how we have indeed been there for each other. And I think that's wonderful. And I think that's what you want to look for in your in-person, you know, your family relationships, your extended family, your friends, your church community. Are you doing those things to make those connections? But again, remember to ask yourself those questions, Rachel. I think that was really significant. Ask yourself those questions and start really pondering that. Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I love, you know, turning that all directions, that we can ask that about ourselves. We can ask that about other people, and ask that how we see other people. That I think that really does help change that, you know, shift in perspective for how we feel that. So that was a great point.
Well, and I just had a thought too. Probably the taking it all the way back is ask those questions of about how we feel about Heavenly Father. Do we really believe that He's there for me? Do I really believe that? Do I know that He's there for me? Do I know that I matter to Him? And do I know that He answers my prayers? Do I know that He's there for me? I think when you can answer yes to those questions, that's that foundation we need to move forward. And then we ask ourselves, and then we move out from there, you know, to those other relationships. So, but starting from the center and working out. So anyway, I love that you shared these things with us, Rachel. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And as I said, I'll be looking and reading and praying this week, and we will start next Friday, whether it's me or Ida. We'll start with going through well-educated heart principles again. And so we'll start somewhere at the beginning. We'll give assignments, talk about what we're going to be reading, and we'll discuss the reading. And then we'll move on from there to whatever comes up, just like today. So I'm so grateful for each one of you, for your contributions here, for the real connections that we make here and that we're continuing to make in our Marco Polo group. And if anybody else is crazy enough to want to join that, please let me know. As much as it takes up time in your life, it will be an incredible blessing. You just have to learn to to work out that balance. But oh my goodness, what beautiful, sincere, real connections, wonderful sharing of talks and scriptures and experiences and recipes and just everything. It's just beautiful. So thank you all for being here, and have an amazing, wonderful week. Think of me, send me some happy, cheerful, very energetic, awake feelings tonight, all through the night, to keep us awake as we're driving to Idaho. Anyway, it's been lovely. Thank you, my friends.